5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Værsgo, knæk op dag.
It's time to talk about the 2026 Danish Speed Puzzling Championship. I will tell you all about what puzzles we got, who won, how I did, what I thought of the image selection, how it was organized, the venue. I have a small haul of puzzles I got besides the competition puzzles, and then something a little different from the previous years. This year, I decided not to participate in the individual competition. Instead, I tried being a volunteer. So I'll tell you all about how it was being a judge at a speed puzzling competition. Now, this year, I was really bad at taking pictures during the weekend. I really took very, very few. Luckily, there were 2 photographers during the entire weekend, and I haven't seen the pictures they've taken yet. They haven't been publicized, but I'm sure I'll be showing you a lot of them throughout this video. I will link them in the photographers in the description. I believe one of them has an Instagram and the other one has a Facebook page. And then when I show you their pictures, I will put up their names on the screen so you know that it's not me that can take such beautiful pictures. And like last year, the event was live streamed, so I'll also be showing you footage from the live stream, and I'll also link that down below so you can go watch it, the entire live stream for yourself. Now, this year, the live stream did get a little bit of an upgrade because there were actually 2 cameramen, which was really great, and the live stream was just, it worked really well. There was split screens sometimes, and the cameramen did an excellent job. They were really running around trying to get everyone's finish on the live stream. And a lot of the live stream was always also had commentary on it. Not everything, but a lot of it had. It is in Danish. One of the rounds, the commentary is in English. I can't remember which one. But otherwise, most of it is in Danish. But it's still very exciting to watch. And of course, I'll show you footage from the live stream here in my video. Now, this year is the 3rd ever Danish Speed Puzzling Championship. And the competition is just growing and growing each year. So if we look at the number of teams that participated, the first year there were 20 teams. Last year there was 43, and this year there was 67 teams competing. And in the individual, the first year there were 89 participants. Last year there were 162, and this year there were 245 individual participating. So yeah, it is really growing at a very fast pace, and I must say that the organization of the event has grown with it, if that makes sense. The organization really is just becoming more and more professional. For example, them having 2 cameras. The first year there weren't any live stream at all. Last year they had 1 cameraman. This year they had 2, which were needed to catch as many as possible now that it has grown so much. So yeah, just a huge thank you to Dansk Puslespilsforening, the Danish Jigsaw Puzzle Federation, for doing such a great job organizing the event and keeping up with the growth of it. Now, and talking about how much the event has grown, let's first talk about the venue, because obviously with so many people participating, there is a need for a bigger venue. So the first year the competition was in Aarhus, last year it was in Roskilde, and this year it was in Odense. And I do really like the idea of the competition moving around the country each year, but the venue in Odense was just so perfect. I really would not mind. I would actually really love it. If it was just that venue each year from now on. And Odense is like, roughly speaking, in the middle of the country, so I think it really works well. One of the best things about the venue was that there was a hotel in the same building at the same place, and that was such a luxury. It was amazing just staying at the same place as the competition. I love a weekend like this, but it is mentally exhausting. But I could really feel that staying at the same place, it was less mentally exhausting. I was less mentally exhausted when I got home than I were the previous years. Because, just being able to wake up, go down to breakfast, and then straight to the competition. I don't have to, get out of the door, be ready to leave way before the competition actually starts just to get to the place. Yeah, it was such a luxury. If you're ever at a speed puzzling competition where you have the option to stay at the place, I highly recommend it. It was so wonderful. It was also just really cozy, Then at the breakfast, you met a lot of the other participants, and it just had kind of that camp-like feeling. It was really great. Now the competition room, or what you call it, that itself was really big. It was really great. There were plenty of room between the tables, and I didn't think that much of it when I was competing, but when I was a volunteer, I really noticed how much space there were between the rows of tables. So you could really, 2 volunteers could cross each other between the tables without any issue or any fear that you would disturb the participants. Yeah, it was really great. The lighting inside the competition room was perfect. So perfect that I really didn't think about it while puzzling, It was just as it should be, and even across the room, so everyone had the same lighting. Yeah, really nothing bad to say about the competition room itself. Then there was a big hallway outside the competition room. There they had screens with the results as they came in. There was a big room to one side of the competition room with different activities. There was a big 18,000 piece puzzle, like a community project you could put together. I think there were some puzzles you could use for puzzle chess, and there were some tables where you could swap tables, so people could bring puzzles, leave them on the table, and then swap it with something else. And in that room, there were also a screen with the live stream running. So yeah, and some cozy chairs and stuff like that. It was great. But on the other side of the competition room was the room where I spent most of my time when I wasn't competing. So in that room, there were also a big screen with the live stream running. There was a cafe where you could buy your lunch and other snacks. There was the merch booth where the Danish Jigsaw Puzzle Federation sold some different merch as they've done at the other years. There were a raffle also like the other years. So I don't think I took any pictures of that, but I hope the photographers did. Otherwise, I'll put up a picture from last year, because the idea was the same. So they had a puzzle, or rather an outline of a puzzle with all the pieces outlined, and then the raffle tickets you bought were puzzle pieces. So you had to place the puzzle pieces you had bought onto the puzzle with the help of that outline of all of the pieces. And if there were a little colored dot where your piece went, you had won something. Now, last year I won a whole bunch of puzzles, of great puzzles. Oh, by the way, yeah, I forgot to mention, I of course have some recap videos of both the first Danish Speed Puzzling Championship and last year's. So if you want to watch those recaps and want to see what I got from the raffles last year, I'll link those videos up here. But this year, I just personally, for me, the prizes you could win weren't as, amazing as last year. There were that 7,000, I think it's 7,000 piece 4 portals puzzle that I feel like everyone is talking about right now. I would really love to have won that, but someone had won it already before I even got to the raffle table. But otherwise, most of the puzzles you could win were puzzles from the previous years, so I already had all of those puzzles. So just personally for me, that wasn't as interesting, but there was some chocolate and other stuff you could win. So I did win some chocolate, and I did win, I don't have it with me here, but a Danish Jigsaw Puzzle Federation tote bag. I already have one of those, but you can't have too many. So that was great. But anyway, I didn't participate as much in the raffle as I did last year, simply because, there weren't really so many prizes that I was personally interested in. But it's a great concept. And one thing that was in that room that I think is a big upgrade from last year were the puzzle shop booths. So the first 2 years, the Danish puzzle shop have had a booth selling puzzles. The first year they sold all kinds of puzzles. Last year they only sold Ravensburger puzzles. They also only sold Ravensburger puzzles this year. And as you may know, I am actually not the biggest fan of Ravensburger puzzles. So, I've never really bought anything from them. But this year, there were 2 other booths that sold puzzles. So there were a lot more choice. There were the Danish Jigsaw Puzzle Company Vice Versa. I didn't buy anything from them, but it's great that there were that option. And then there were Puslestudiet, who is the organizer of the Danish Speed Puzzling online competitions, Puzzle Race DK. But Puslestudiet is also just an amazing puzzle rep shop. They have some, really great brands, interesting ones. So I really think it was positive that there were more than one puzzle shop selling puzzles. And I don't think it really would have worked the other 2 years because there just wasn't space for them. But this year it was really nice with that big room. So there were the merch booth, the raffle, you could buy lunch. There were 3 different puzzle shops selling puzzles, and there were also a lot of tables to sit and watch the live stream. So it really was the room I spent most of my time in when I didn't participate. It was also great with the other room with all of those activities, and I know a lot of people participated in those, but it just ended up that I spent most of my time in the other room. I just think the whole thing was really well organized with the layout. So, everything was just, gathered together. It wasn't spread out all over the place. You had the competition room, a big hallway, and then 2 rooms on each side with activities and booths and a cafe. And yeah, it worked really, really well. The live stream was really great. You know, of course, I didn't watch much of the live stream, only just on those big screens. But when I got home, I watched all of the live stream, and it was really great. And also just the information around the competition was great. So before, if some days before the competition, as a competitor, you got an email with a whole lot of practical information. They also informed us that the chairs were a little bit lower than normal, so they recommended perhaps having a pillow you can sit on if you thought you would need it. So just a small thing like that, informing us of that before the competition. Yeah, really a huge thank you to the Danish Jigsaw Puzzle Federation for organizing such an amazing event. Now, before I go into the competition itself, I want to show you the puzzles I did buy from Puslespilsforening, because it was basically the first thing I did. I kind of just skimmed over the other puzzle booths and went straight to Puslespilsforening because I just love the puzzles she's selling. So I bought 3 puzzles from her, and the first one is this 500-piece puzzle from the brand that I really don't know how to pronounce. Heol is I don't know what you call it, sub-brand of Travel, and I just fell in love with this image. It's so beautiful. I love the fantasy element of it, and I am such a huge fan of puzzles with these more muted, earthy, calming colors. I really love it. I don't think it's going to be the easiest of puzzles. You know, the colors are quite similar all around. There are different textures and stuff like that. And it is only 500 pieces. So yeah, I think this is one I can really relax with. So looking forward to putting it together. Yeah, you can, I think that's the artist there. Yeah, such a beautiful puzzle. The second one I got, oh yeah, and with Heol, I actually do have 2 1,000-piece Heol puzzles I've had in my collection for quite a while. Haven't put them together yet. I don't exactly know what the difference, if there are difference in quality between Heol and Travel. The boxes are different. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking of making a video where I compare the 2, Heol and Travel. So yeah, let me know if you would be interested in that, but I'm definitely looking forward to putting this one together. Then the second puzzle I got is from a brand I haven't tried. I haven't seen anyone in Denmark sell it other than Puslespilsforening, and it's La Pose. Don't quite know again how to pronounce it. It's this 1,000-piece puzzle, Snowdrop Mountain Express by Hannah, and I'm not going to pronounce the last name, but you can see the artist here, and you can see the entire image here. I do believe there is a poster in the puzzle, and it's just so cute. Again, this one also have these kind of, relaxing earthy colors, a bit more color differences in this one. Yeah, but I just love these browns, the greens, some oranges. Yeah, I'm also really looking forward to this one. So cute and beautiful, and a really nice box. Really, really sturdy box. So yeah, looking forward to it. Oh, and I think perhaps, let me see. I've had to open it up to check. The Heol one, I think the pieces come in a paper bag. This one, it comes in a fabric bag. And yeah, you can see, if I can get it out. Here you can see there's a small poster with the image. So yeah, I couldn't resist this puzzle. And then the last one I got from Puslespilsforening. So I don't think that at the time of the competition that she had any pomegranate puzzles on her website. They were brand new for her, so they hadn't made it to the web shop yet. So I was really surprised to see that she had some pomegranate puzzles. And she had this round one. Now I have tried one of Pomegranate's round puzzles. I have one in my collection, and now I have this one. So I really enjoy the round puzzles. It's 500 pieces. Don't think it's going to be the easiest of images, but it's only 500 pieces. Really love those. I'm a big fan of Pomegranate, and these round ones are quite difficult to find in Denmark. They are starting to be available some places. The first one I tried, I'm trying to get the lid off the box here. The first one I bought at like a museum shop. And the second one, the one I haven't done yet, I bought from the Danish puzzle shop, Puslespilsforening. Yeah, and now Puslestudiet have them. So you can see there is a poster. And then the pieces are these, I can't remember the official term for it, 6-sided pieces, you can see. So they are really fun, really interesting to put together. So yeah, I fell in love with those 3 puzzles, had to have them. I had said to myself that I were allowed to buy some puzzles from Puslestudiet. So yeah, with that, I think it's time to talk about the competition itself. Like the previous years, the competition consisted of the teams, the pairs, and the individual event. The pairs and individual both had 2 preliminary rounds and a final, and the team's competition was just the final. And like last year, Saturday was the teams and the pairs event, and Sunday was the individual event. But last year, we started with the teams event and then had the 2 pairs preliminary rounds and the pairs final. This year, they had switched them, which I think was great because I think the teams competition, especially if you get a bit of a more difficult puzzle, can be really exhausting. So I remember from last year having the teams event first. I was so exhausted from that, and then I still had potentially 2 competitions more after that on the same day. So yeah, I think it was really great that they switched it around, so we ended with the teams event. Now, as for the results, there were kind of 2 different results to look at, because, it is the Danish Speed Puzzling Championship, but international participants were allowed like they were the previous years. And I think that's really great because, there still aren't that many in-person competitions. So yeah, it's great that we get to join the other countries' competitions. But there were some rules about international participants' qualification for the finals and their placements in general. So, with the pairs and the individuals from the preliminary rounds, from each round, there were 39 Danish participants would move on to the final, and the 6 best international players. So, as an international, you could be placed in the top 39, but if there were 6 other international participants above you, you wouldn't qualify. And I think it's a really great rule, because again, you make room for international players, but they don't, rob any Danish players of a place in the final. And also then, when it was the final, it was only Danish participants who could get a podium place. So even though an international player got first, second, or third, they wouldn't get a trophy or podium place. But the best international player in all 3 events did get a diploma and a puzzle prize. So yeah, again, you acknowledged the international players, but it is still the Danish Speed Puzzling Championship. It will be Danes on the podium. So yeah, I just think it's a really good balance of making room for internationals, but still keeping it the Danish Jigsaw Speed Puzzling Championship. So yeah, again, as a Dane, you kind of had your placement, how you placed with all of the participants, and then how you placed when you looked only at the Danes. And of course, I'll also link down below where you can see all of the results from all of the competitions. and they actually have a really nice feature. So for each round, you can see the general placement with everyone, and then you can like tap on like a Danish flag and just see the placements only with Danes. I think the individual final, it doesn't quite work. It only shows one Dane if you tap on that Danish flag. There's some technical issues there, but otherwise, yeah, it's really great. So you can quickly see how you placed when you only look at Danish participants. Now, also back to the schedule, one thing I really like about it is the fact that they have the teams and pairs one day and the individual another day. So first off, it's not like they have the preliminary rounds on one day and the finals on another. So if you are only participating in the individual, you don't have to be there both days. You can just be there the one day. And I also think that a lot of people might have found a team and then thought, hey, it could be fun to split up and also do the pairs. But if you don't want to do the individual, again, you don't have to be there both days. So yeah, I really think that's great. And also for me, not participating in the individual, but being a judge instead, I had one day with competitions and one day being a volunteer. So also just personally for me, that was really great. But yeah, I hope they stick to that schedule the coming years. I really like that. Now, one thing that they changed from last year, a really great thing. So, the previous 2 years, it has just been Ravensburger deciding what puzzles we got, because the board members of the Danish Puzzle Federation also wants to be part of the competition, so of course they couldn't be involved in the picking of the puzzles, choosing of the puzzles. And if you saw my recap video from last year, and especially if you were at the competition last year, you will remember that we got some awful, evil puzzles. I'll put up some images of some of the puzzles we got. Pure evil, not fun at all. Again, if you watch my recap video from last year, you'll hear all my thoughts about those puzzles. But yeah, the board members were also really annoyed at those choices that Ravensburger did. So, one of the board members, and a huge applause to her, sacrificed herself, sacrificed her option to be part of the competition, to be a participant in the competition. She pulled herself out of the competition so she could be involved in the picking of the puzzles. And let me say, that helped a lot. The images we got this year were 100 times better than last year. So yeah, again, a huge thank you to her. So much more fun this year. But yeah, finally, let's get into the competitions. So, as I said, the first event was the pairs event, and me and my pair, Christina, who have been my pair in all of the years, were in group A, and we got this puzzle. So, not the easiest of puzzles. As a pair, definitely tricky, but a lot better than the ones we got last year. So this is, I think it's a series of puzzles called Crazy Cats. So this is Tom Cat's house plans. You can see the image here. I have actually solo speed puzzled a puzzle from this series, the same artist. Again, as I said, not the easiest. I started by doing the edge, and then Christina took those like few bigger sections that you can really spot. So there's this sign here and this door, and I think most people did it like that. And then, this pink pillow down here. And then we were just, both of us, like all over the place, you know. The thing that makes this difficult as a pair, there's not like clear sections. You can say like, okay, I'm going to take this section, then you take this section. You are really all over the place. But I did, you know, that there are still like a few smaller things that you can pick out. So the chair, I, saw this here. There are these really dark blue pieces. They're only white here. This shelf unit here. Yeah, and all of these plans, do just, look green and confusing, but you can actually distinguish a lot of them from each other. So yeah, still a difficult but really fun puzzle to do. Now, the results, and I just have them here on my old phone. So the first to finish this was a Swedish pair, and there were a lot of Swedes in the competition, and it hurts me a bit as a Dane, but they did really well. I think with all or most of the competitions and the rounds, it was Swedes who were at the top. But yeah, anyway, the first pair to finish was from Sweden, Tyra and Tobias, who did it in 23 minutes and 29 seconds. Really impressive. And then to find the first Danish pair to finish, we have to go all the way down to 4th place with Katja and Johanne, who did it in 28 minutes and 57 seconds. So yeah, really impressive. Now, me and Christina, we did this in 45 minutes and 19 seconds. Really happy with that time. So me and Christina, we didn't really know if we would be able to make it to the final. Both of us haven't practiced that much recently. Last year I was really good with practicing a lot leading up to the competition. I hadn't practiced nearly as much leading up to this year's competition. So yeah, both of us felt, like we weren't on top. We weren't at our best. So we didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, I think we did really well with 45 minutes and 19 seconds. And it did place us on the 22nd place, number 22 out of 117 participants with international. Without internationals, we came 16th out of 94. And that did place us in the final. So as I said, it was 39 who made it to the final. So yeah, really well. It couldn't have gone better. We were just so happy with getting to the final. And yeah, a lovely puzzle. Really fun. Let me just see where I can put it. Then the next was obviously round B that, we didn't participate in, but I have the puzzle here. So I had said to myself, I knew Puzzle Shop, as I said, would be there with a booth only selling Ravensburger puzzles. So I had given myself permission to buy if some puzzles from rounds I ran part of, if I were able to buy them at that booth, I would do it. Well, it turned out that all of them, except for the team's puzzle, I think, all of them you could buy at that booth. So yeah, I ended up actually spending quite a lot of money on Ravensburger puzzles. I do like having all of the puzzles from the competition. So yeah, I can try them for myself, so I can show you in this video. And yeah, it's just a nice collection, I think, to have. But yeah, the puzzle they got, and we were really happy we were in round A, because the puzzle they got for pairs round B was this one. Much more difficult puzzle, at least in our opinion, but still, yeah, 100 times better than anything we got, as some of the puzzles we got last year. And I will say that I did actually talk to a few people during this competition that were in my round who said that they would rather have wanted this one than this one. So yeah, let me know if you could choose which round to be in a pairs competition. Which one would you rather have? For me, there's no competition. This one, all the way. I think this one looks difficult, and I think it's even more difficult than you can perhaps see here on the box. I feel like all of this is just one big blur. I also kind of struggles with buildings, especially when you look at them at this like crooked angle. Yeah. And I also think it's funny. So this is one of the Scandinavian places puzzles. It's called Sunset in Copenhagen. So yeah, nice with a puzzle with an image from Denmark at the Danish Speed Puzzling Competition. But yeah, so this is from Nyhavn in Copenhagen, and all of these buildings here are just really colorful in different colors, and you can get a whole bunch of puzzles with pictures from Nyhavn, often taken like, directly from the front here, with all of these different colored buildings. And this puzzle, this image from Nyhavn, all of the buildings just looks the same color. I think it's kind of, funny to take a picture like this of Nyhavn. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try to speed puzzle it at some point by myself. I do think as a pair, it's not the worst puzzle you can get. It's definitely not the worst puzzle you can get. The Gletscher from last year, I think, is the worst puzzle you can get. But compared, where this one place where this might be a little bit more easy than this one is that you can divide it more easily in pairs. So I think a lot of people, one pair took, put together the water down here, and one put together the sky, and then they met in the middle. But yeah, definitely happy I was in A. One thing perhaps I want to mention, it's also a little bit relevant in the individual competition. So these puzzles here from the 2 rounds are very different from each other, and I sometimes hear people comment about speed puzzling competitions where there are preliminary rounds where you get so different from each other puzzles, saying that it's unfair that the puzzles are so different. It would have been, obvious to perhaps pick one from the other series here for the next round. But I just can't see how it's unfair competition-wise to get so different puzzles in the rounds, because you're not competing against people in the other round. You're only competing against people in your own round. So it really doesn't matter that the other round got a completely different style of image. Now, of course, so last year, the first round got that awful glacier puzzle, and then we got a nice, colorful puzzle with a lot of text, that peanuts, that's what they're called in English, right? The peanuts puzzle. And again, it's not unfair as such. It's a shame that people can have let me try and gather my thoughts here. I think it's nice that you don't have a completely different experience being in different preliminary rounds. So half of people competing have a wonderful experience with a really fun puzzle, and half of them have a horrible experience with a really, really difficult puzzle. But I don't think that's the case here. This one is definitely more difficult than the other, but it's still a very, I think, doable image. And yeah, I just don't think it's unfair that the images are so different from each other. But let me know what you think. But yeah, as I said, you are only competing against the people in your own round. And again, with this one, I think most people would rather have been in Group A. But yeah, as I said, I did talk to people who would rather have had this one, where this was more their style, more their strong suit than the other one. But yeah, enough about that. Let's look at the results from this one. So again, let's just see. In Group A, the winning time was 23:29. In Group B, here it was actually some Danes who came first with a time of 29:41. So actually not that big of a time difference. It's not like there were, 50 minutes time difference. So yeah, again, definitely this Group B puzzle was more difficult, but not extreme. Oh, and the ones who finished first there was Iris and Sofie, 2 of the top Danish speed puzzlers. And again, extremely impressive to be able to put together a puzzle in that time. So after round B, it was time for the finals. And as I said, me and Christina were just so happy to be part of the finals. But one thing being part of the finals also meant is that you had the opportunity to qualify for the Nordic Championship. So last year was the first time the Nordic Championship was held, and that was held in Sweden. This year, the Nordic Championship is going to be held in Denmark. And the Nordic Championship works so there are, again, there's like 2 different competitions. On the one day, there's a pairs, an individual, and a teams event that you can qualify for in your national competition. And then on Sunday, there's again a teams, an individual, and a pairs event that is open for everyone. There are some limited spots for each country, but it is, open for everyone. You don't have to qualify for that. And since it's in Denmark, I am going to the Nordic Championship. I am participating in all of the open competitions. But the way you qualify for the actual Nordic Championship is with individual and pairs, and I think it's the same amount of people from each country that can qualify. But at least here in Denmark, it's the top 30 Danes in pairs and individual can qualify for Nordic, and in teams, I think it's top 15. Now, it's only Danes who can qualify to Nordic through the Danish Championship. So all the Swedes participating in the other participants from other Nordic countries, but they can't qualify through the Danish Championship. They have to do that through their own national championship. But anyway, I think that's actually also really fun. So there are really a lot of different milestones you can hope for. So of course, there's a lot of people who just who are just participating for fun, aren't expecting anything. There are people who just really want to finish the puzzle within the time limit of the preliminary rounds. Some people really want to go to the final. But then when you are in the final, it's not just about who is on the podium. You can also, fight for a qualification to the Nordics. So yeah, I just think it's just really fun. But anyway, back to the final for the pairs. And we got the first ever round puzzle in a Danish championship, but it's not a circle of colors puzzle. It's this SpongeBob SquarePants puzzle. Now, when we saw this puzzle, when we took it out of the bag, I think my first thought was just, phew, much easier than last year. So last year we got that awful green hill of death. I hate it. Anyway, a lot more fun this one. But I also thought, but also a little bit difficult. Because, again, it's a round puzzle. I think round puzzles are more difficult than square puzzles. I know it's different from person to person, but I always, can get kind of confused with the placements of everything with a round puzzle. But also the colors, it's just a lot of blue, a lot of yellow, a little bit of pink. But, it's so busy. Yeah, a lot of the same colors all over the place. So I definitely thought that this one would take us longer than the one we got in the preliminary round. But it turned out to actually be quite easy. Let me just show you the image here properly. I also, one thing, really like that when there is a round puzzle that they used it for the final, because in the preliminary round we were sharing a table with another pair, but in the final we did have our own table. And these round puzzles, they just take up a whole lot more room. So it would be really difficult to do this, sharing a table with someone. That's also one thing that was different for the international participants. So in the final, all Danes got their own table, but international participants were sharing a table with another international participant. So yeah, they did have kind of an, what you call that? It was a little bit more difficult for the international participants in that regard. But anyway, yeah, it was really nice to have a whole table with this puzzle. And yeah, I started again with doing the edge. Christina pulled out all of this, or most of the pieces for this text here. I think she did SpongeBob here first, and then I jumped in and I did this text, and it's just a lot of small details that you can use as a help. So you can see this blue blot here around the text. It does have I don't know if you can see it, but it just, like that. It does have this spotted texture here that isn't on the other blue spots. And again, also down here with the sand down there, also have that kind of texture that really isn't anywhere else. All of these different buildings were quite easy to spot. Then there are these like jellyfish, is that the word? They are only down here. There's just few up here, but otherwise they're all down here. Now I will say, I haven't really watched any SpongeBob SquarePants, and I think with puzzles where there are like characters on them, it does help if you actually know the characters. I talked with some other pairs also where one person in the pair really knew SpongeBob SquarePants, the other one didn't. So one would say, oh, here are pieces for insert name of character here, and the other one's just, I don't know who that is. But yeah, it was really fun to put together. And let's see the results here. So the first pair to finish were a Swedish pair. They did it in 27 minutes and 30 seconds. Again, really impressive. And remember, they only had half a table. So again, really impressive. To find the winning podium place, the first Danish people to finish, it was Iris and Sophie who did it in 33 minutes and 40 seconds. Again, very impressive. Then, to find the second place, we have to go down to 6th placement. It was Katja and Johanna, 34 minutes, 44 seconds. And 3rd place was Patricia or Sissel with 34 minutes and 24 seconds. So a huge congratulations to all of them. Really impressive. Now, we did it actually faster than we did the puzzle from round A, which, yeah, I wouldn't have thought just looking at the images, but yeah, it was actually quite easy for us, this. I also just think this really, yeah, these like illustrations like this are just both of me and Christina's strong suit. Again, it's a very busy image, a little bit more difficult to like divide up between a pair, but yeah, still loved it. But we did it in 42 minutes and 6 seconds, which placed us number 26 out of 90 with international players. Really impressive with that. Now, only looking at the Danish participants, we were number 17 out of 79, which qualified us for Nordics. Really, as I said, we weren't even sure we would make it to the finals. So qualifying for Nordic, just amazing and completely unexpected. So yeah, that was just, yeah, such a great experience. And again, yeah, so surprised to qualify for Nordics. Now, after that, I really had to mentally prepare myself for the teams event. Because I think just purely because last year we finished with pairs on Saturday. We finished with the pairs final. In my head, we were done now. So I really just had to remind myself that no, we have a whole team's competition left. Now, my team this year, as with the previous years, we were called En brik mere, one more piece. But the team were a little bit different than the first 2 years. So Christina, my pairs partner, was also a team member of mine. There was Christine, who also always been a team member of mine. But then the previous years, Nina was part of our team. But Nina do live quite a distance from the rest of us. So I think shortly after last year's competition, she told us that she would find a new partner and a new team, purely because she just wanted someone a bit closer to her so she could practice more, which is so understandable. But yeah, that obviously meant that Christine needed a new partner and we needed a new team member. And we found Frederikke. So yeah, a little bit of a different team this time. But yeah, Frederikke is, yeah, an amazing person and so fun to puzzle with. So everything worked out. Now, last year in the team's event, we got this horrible Rosenborg castle puzzle. Yeah, really hated that. So yeah, again, we were excited to see what we would get this year. Now that there was someone from the Danish Federation actually helping with picking out the puzzle. I don't know how it works. I don't think she would just have, be able to pick between all puzzles Ravensburger have made. I don't know if that's how it works, but I have an idea that she got some options to choose from. So yeah, really exciting to see what we got. And we pulled it out and we got this image here. We were so happy. 1,000,000 times better than last year. Oh, one thing I didn't mention at all. So in the pairs and also in the individual, in the preliminary round, the time limit is 2 hours. In the final, it's 1 hour and 30 minutes. With teams, I think it's 2.5 hours, the time limit. And the puzzle last year, I think we did in just over 2 hours. It was so difficult. By far the longest we've done the longest time we've done on a puzzle. But yeah, we got this puzzle. Now, the plan was to pull out the edge pieces and then I would do the edge. There's always in teams one of us who does the edge. And we just in the moment decided I would do the edge. We pulled out this puzzle. I said, we're not doing the edge first, are we? No. But we pulled out the edge to one side. But yeah, I think there were some teams who did the edge first, and I'm really happy we didn't. It was definitely the right choice to wait with that. And yeah, all of us picked a poster to do. So I think I started with this Alice in Wonderland here, and then I moved over to the Dumbo and Lady and the Tramp. I worked a lot on these. And yeah, so it's just I'm taking this poster, I'm taking that poster. Yeah, really worked well. So we just normally with teams, we do switch places a few times during the competition. I don't think any of us switched places a single time here. We just even though I'm worked, I was placed here compared to how we put together the puzzle. So even though I worked on some posters from here, I just, worked on them right in front of me, if that makes sense. And then at some point, when we had enough of the posters completed, or almost completed, we decided to, finally put everything where they were compared to each other. And yeah, at that point, it was a bit moving pieces around so we can, scooch all of the sections over to their correct places and connect them. And then at some point, when most of the row of pieces next to the edge that had a bit of the green and some of the posters on it, when most of that got completed, I think it was Frederikke who said, okay, I'm doing the edge now. And I also think that was great. So we didn't all save the edge for last. So we were all working on the edge at the end. We did end up all working on the edge at the end, but there weren't much left of it at that point. So I think it was really great that Frederikke, noticed that, okay, now it's managed, the edge is manageable. So I'm doing that. So we're not all on it at the same time. So yeah, really a lovely image for a team. Really easy to divide up. But there are still that you have to be able to judge when to put all of the sections together, to put it, to not just working on your own thing, but actually put it together to one in the places that everything goes, judge when it's the right time to actually do the edge. But I think we did really well, and it was so much fun, and I'm really also looking forward to doing this on my own. Oh, and one thing that's fun, so Frederikke, she said she has this puzzle, but it's not exactly this puzzle. So Ravensburg have apparently released a puzzle like this a while back, where a lot of the posters are the same, are placed the same, but then some of them are different. So I can't remember, perhaps there is actually a Pinocchio poster here, but it's a different Pinocchio poster. But a lot of them are the same, some of them are different, and yeah, it's a little bit fun that they've decided to make a new version of it with other posters. I don't know if it actually helped her, because I think she was just, it could be a bit confusing to her that everything was not exactly as it were on the puzzle she had done. But yeah, anyway, did I show you the image properly? You can see here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it on my own. And a really amazing choice for a team's puzzle. So let's see the results. And as I said, there weren't any preliminary rounds with the team competition, so it was, the final right away. Now, the team that won was a Swedish team, the team that came first. They did it in 38 minutes straight. Really impressive. Now, to find the first podium place, the best Danish team, it is Lynpuslerne, who I think have won all 3 years now. They did it in 39 minutes and 30 seconds. Again, really impressive. Third place was Fit Happens with 44 minutes, 46 seconds. And third place was Bibliotekspuslerne with 45 minutes and 13 seconds. Our team, we did it in 57 minutes and 58 seconds. So just under an hour, and we were really happy with that. Yeah, it was just such a fun competition. Everything just worked out. I think we did really well. And with international players, we came in the 20th place. Number 20 out of 67 teams. Really impressive. And if we look only at Danes, we were number 13 out of 58 teams. Really happy with that. What that also means is that we qualified for Nordic in teams. So yeah, I really hadn't expected to qualify in Nordic in anything. And now I was qualified in both teams and pairs. So yeah, an amazing day. Couldn't have gone better. Really, really happy. The next day of the competition, as I mentioned, was all about the individual event. And as I mentioned, I wasn't participating. And I think I actually mentioned it already in my recap video of last year, that I was considering not participating in the individual, but being a judge instead. And there are a few reasons why I decided on that. So, first of all, last year, I didn't manage to make it to the final in the individual competition. I think I was a little over a minute from qualifying for the final. And it's not that I don't want to compete unless I do well, but I just felt like if I'm out of the finals from now on, then I have a day where I'm only competing once. And honestly, I really love speed puzzling, but the thing I love most of all about it is the social aspect. So I love the teams event and I love the pairs event, but I don't love the individual event as much. So I thought, if I'm only going to be in one of the competitions anyway, if I'm not going to make it to the final, perhaps it would be more fun to try being a volunteer and, get the social aspect from that. Then last year, it was only 25 who moved on to the final. Turned out that 39 would move on to the finals this year. So I didn't know before I, made the choice not to participate in the individual. I could see that my chances of going to the final this year would be much bigger. So yeah, there would be a chance of me going, but I decided to, be strong, to hold on to the feeling, to my decision to not participate. And I just thought, let's try it. Let me try being a judge. If I don't like it, if I regret not participating in the individual competition, I could just do it next year. So yeah, it was, a bit weird not participating in the individual, but I'm so happy with my choice. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to try. It was also, I was also really nervous about it. I mean, there's a lot of pressure I was really nervous about having to, the same time, look down at the person when they put in that last piece and look up at the time and noting down the time correct. I mean, 1 second can mean the difference for someone with how they place of going to the final and not going to the final. So that I felt a lot of pressure about doing it right. But yeah, it was really great. Like, I also, before the competition, got a mail with a lot of practical information. On the day, I got some really great instructions on what to do. Yeah, so it did feel, even though I was really nervous beforehand, it did feel like a very safe experience. And it was just also really fun to get to walk between all of the participants and see all of the different ways people put together a puzzle, all the different tactics, and all of the ways, when it was fun to see when most of the participants did the same thing. Yeah, it was just really fun to see the competition from the other side like that. And it's fun because right when a competition starts, you're just walking around. There's not that much to do. I mean, for the first many minutes, like 20 minutes or something, there's not going to happen anything. And nothing is going to happen. But yeah, there I can go, like, relax a bit more, really see what people are doing. Then at some point, when people start to finish, there's a point where you really have to be on it. Where there are a lot of people finishing at the same time. You have to really see, okay, that these two people who are going to finish first, are there another volunteer who have an eye on that participant? And yeah, and then at the end, things are slowing down again when there are not that many participants left, when we are perhaps even more judges than there are participants left. So yeah, it's kind of a roller coaster. And yeah, it's just really fun. We also had to, when someone was nearing the finish, we had to like raise up our hand to get the attention of the cameraman so they could come over and film them finish. They didn't catch everyone. So I know in the pairs final, we weren't on the live stream when we finished, but the cameramen really did everything they could to catch everyone. But yeah, there was just so many participating, and yeah, it was impossible to get everyone, but they did everything they could. And yeah, so you had to get their attention and they would come running over as soon as they could. And also, so I had said that I could be a participant in all 3 of the individual competitions, in the 2 preliminary rounds and the final. And so what I heard from someone, if I remember correctly, they said that last year they didn't have a, like, what you call that, work schedule with all of the volunteers in it. People had just, said when they could volunteer and then they would show up. And I think they had learned from last year that people really needed to have an official schedule, because otherwise I think someone would just, they would think for a competition that, I don't need to be there in the first 10 minutes. Nothing's happening in the first 10 minutes anyway. So yeah, they were a bit like, it was a bit unorganized for the volunteers. So this year we did get a work schedule a few days beforehand, so we could see like exactly when we were on as a volunteer and when we had a break. So again, I had said I could volunteer for all 3 competitions, which meant that there were only half an hour between the competitions. So, and when a competition is over, you might have to help the ones who, if there are people who haven't finished, you have to count all of the pieces, and there's also a lot of setup before a competition. So yeah, it was really tight. And I also think they said that it was good, there was a work schedule this time, but for next year they've learned to put in some more breaks for people. So it would, the first competition I was at, the woman who like overseed all of the volunteers, I think like 50 minutes before the competition was over, she came over to me and said I could just go now, get something to eat, get a little bit of a longer break. So I did that. It would be nice to have it organized so some people could go 50 minutes before a competition ended, and then others could wait 50 minutes from a competition had started, and stuff like that. So I had a bit more breaks because I were on pretty much all day. And so what I learned personally, if I'm going to do it again, I would probably say that I can be a volunteer in the first preliminary round and then in the final. So I have a big gap during the day, because one thing I did miss that day was being part of all of the other things happening. I didn't have time to look through the booths again, to really sit down and talk to people, to just sit. And it's also fun to just sit and watch the live stream on the screen with someone. So I did kind of miss that. But again, it was my choice. I had said I could be a volunteer at all three. And also, even though you're just like walking slowly through all of the rows during the competition, at some point you are walking a bit faster. You have to walk over with the results so they can put them into the system. But still, it's just walking slowly. But I think like with the times where I got to leave a bit before the competition ended, I think I ended up being in the competition room, walking around for like 5 hours during the day. And it was fine. But in the evening and the next day and the day after that, my legs was so sore. Is that what it's called? Sore. It was really, really tough on my legs. I was just knackered. I don't know if that's the word. Knackered. It was exhausting. It really hurt in my legs in the days after the competition. But it was fun. Would I recommend other people being a volunteer at a speed puzzling competition? Definitely with one that is organized so well. But it was so much fun. Will I do it again? I don't know. I don't think I can. I don't think I'll decide until the registration for next year actually opens. I think I'm going to participate again next year in the individual competition and not being a volunteer. But it was so much fun to try. And I definitely recommend it for other people. And it was fun. I did get like a more social aspect from that than I did from just participating. So so much fun. I was really happy I tried it. Now, one thing I also got from being a volunteer, so we did get like a goodie bag where there was some water, there were some snacks, there were what's that called? Like a ticket so we could get our lunch for free, which is just, really, really great. So I didn't pay for any food that day, which was lovely. And then there was also a puzzle in that goodie bag. So I got this. That was the final puzzle for the individual final, the first Danish Speed Puzzling Championship. So I do already own this puzzle, but I think I'm going to use it. So I sometimes organize a local puzzle event, and I've always had like a little raffle where people can win some puzzle prizes, and I think I'll use it for that. So someone at a puzzle event one day can win this puzzle. But this is a puzzle from a previous competition. It's a fun, quite difficult image. Perhaps I should try speed puzzling mine again soon to see how much I've improved from the first year. But I had this already, but it's just really, what do you call that? It's really amazing that they do give you a puzzle to be a volunteer. And then also there were a little like kind of gift card, so you could go out to Puzzle Shop's booth and pick out a 500-piece Ravensburger puzzle of your own choice. So I did that, and I picked this De Melser Horton. I can't remember what this one is called. Enchanted Christmas. And this is an image I've actually looked at for quite a while. I've always loved this image. I'm a big fan of De Melser Horton's art. As I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Ravensburger puzzles. So that's just the only reason I hadn't bought it yet. But since I could get it for free, I picked this one. So again, it was really worth it to be a volunteer. Your food was paid for, you got some snacks, you got free puzzles, and then it was just also really, really fun to try. And I definitely recommend other people to try it too. But the competition itself, the individual competition. So I did manage to get a hold of all of the puzzles, and I have also tried to speed puzzle them myself at home. So I can tell you if I would have made it to the final if I had participated. But in the first preliminary round A, they got this puzzle, which have been used for a world championship. I can't remember which year, if it was this year or last year, I can't remember. But anyway, they got this puzzle called, I don't remember if I've mentioned what all of the other puzzles have been called. This one is called Flower Jungle by Darlene Seal. And yeah, it's just this really colorful, fun illustration of a bunch of flowers. Now, when I first see this, I do think it looks difficult, because flowers are usually difficult. You know, there's especially these like leaves here that are all over the place. There are 3 of them in different places. But yeah, and again here it was fun to see what other people did. So it seemed like people either started with these or finished with these, which was really fun to see. Now, as I said, I have tried it at home, and if I remember correctly, I didn't do the edge. I very, very rarely do the edge first when I am speed puzzling solo. But I think I pulled out this blue here that really stands out. And I can't really remember the order in which I did things. But yeah, it looks really difficult at first. But there's really, except for these, no element that is several places on the puzzle. So these are really easy to pull out. They have these lines on them. There are 2 roses here, but they're different colors. This really pink color here is only here. The flowers here also have like these lines on it that this orange flower here doesn't have. This one have these like, it's like pink branches, whatever it's called. So yeah, it actually, I think, was pretty easy to do. For me at least. It's really my style. I know some people will struggle with something like this, but it's really my strong suit. So, let's look at the results. So, the first person to finish, can you guess it, was a Swede. It was Tyra who did it in 34 minutes and 24 seconds. Really impressive. The first Dane to finish was Astrid, who did it in 39 minutes and 28 seconds. So yeah, some really impressive times. I did it at home. And again, I know you can't compare it completely, because I know this is a puzzle that people have seen. Most people will probably have seen before, but still there's a big difference between sitting in a competition, having no idea what's coming out of the bag, and sitting at home knowing what I'm about to puzzle. And also just the lighting will be different, the atmosphere will be different. There's a big difference between speed puzzling at home and speed puzzling at a competition. Some people do better at competitions, some people do best at home. I actually don't quite know about me. I think perhaps I do better at competitions because of the like adrenaline. But yeah, it is 2 completely different things. I did only give myself the space that you had at the competition, because that is a big thing also, but I made sure I only used the space I would have had at the competition. But yeah, you can never quite compare 100%. It's the time I got on this at home. You know, I wouldn't necessarily have gotten that time at the competition. It might have been better, it might have been worse. But anyway, at home, I did this in 55 minutes and 35 seconds. Really happy with that, under an hour. I am managing to get under an hour more and more often now. So yeah, that's really great. But still, having that time on this puzzle, yeah, it's an easy puzzle for me. That would have placed me with international players in number 20 out of 67 participants. Without international players, I would have become number 13 out of 58 participants. So if I had been in the individual competition and had I been in preliminary round A, and, if we just assume that you can compare puzzling this at home with puzzling at a competition, I would have made it to the final. Oh, sorry. I looked at the wrong numbers. The time was right. I did it in 55 minutes and 35 seconds. I accidentally looked at the placements that we had in teams. I would have placed 34 out of 122 with international players, 25 out of 103 without international players, but it would still have qualified me for the finals. I have to look at the right numbers here I have in front of me. Sorry about that. It sounds more right. There were 122 people in the preliminary round A. It's also really a lot of people. It's so amazing that the competition have grown so much. Anyway, I would have qualified. I did it roughly 10 minutes faster than the last person, the last Dane to qualify. So yeah, I feel confident in saying that I would have qualified. Doing this puzzle 10 minutes slower would have been a lot, It's a big difference. I don't think it makes that big of a difference doing it at home versus doing it at competition. So yeah, I would have qualified, which, it's nice to know. I don't know if it makes me, regret a little bit that I didn't participate. But yeah, it doesn't. I don't regret being volunteer. It was so much fun to try. But yeah, super fun image. Really loved this one. Then, in round B, they got this puzzle. So this is Succulent Love. I can't remember if this also been used at Worlds. It's definitely been used at other competitions too. Again, as with the pairs, the round A was the easier puzzle, round B was the more difficult puzzle. I think most people would say this one is more difficult. I don't know if there are any people who would prefer this puzzle over this puzzle. Let me know if you would. But yeah, there were very few people who started with this red heart in the middle. Most people finished with that one. And it was definitely one people struggled with. There were several times where I could see someone only had pieces from this heart here left. So I thought, okay, they're going to be done soon. I'm going to be ready to put down the time. And then it took ages for them to finish. It was definitely a difficult, section of the puzzle. And again, as with the pairs, two puzzles that are quite difficult for each other, definitely in difficulty. But when I got them home and they were just lying on my table and I saw them at a bit of a bit of a distance, they do actually, if you kind of squint your eyes, they do actually look a little bit alike. I mean, it's colorful plants. So yeah, they do, remind a little bit more similar than the puzzles from the pairs competition. But yeah, definitely a difficult one for people. So the first person to finish this one again was one from Sweden, Kirsten, who did it in 32 minutes and 38 seconds. Really impressive. And actually, top 3 in that round were Swedes, and number 4 was one from Germany. So we have to go all the way down to 5th place to find the first Dane to finish, which was Peter, who did it in 50 minutes and 28 seconds. So also, you can see the best time on this one was 32:38. The best time in round A was 34:24. So actually, surprisingly, this one had the fastest time. I think most people would say this one is more difficult. So yeah, that's interesting. Now, again, I tried this one at home. And oh boy, I thought it was difficult. So I just think the thing that made it difficult, I actually think it was easy enough with most of these succulents to distinguish them from each other. And there was also a flower here, some flowers here that were really easy to pull out. I pulled out this really bright blue, and there's the purple here. This one is really easy to spot. This one here that has kind of this weird edge to it to all the leaves. This one has also more texture, a texture the other ones don't have. So I actually don't think it was that difficult to distinguish all of the succulents. But each succulent, you know, the fact that it's like this round, you don't know which way the pieces go, what is up and what is down, definitely made it difficult. I didn't do the edge first. As I said, I very rarely do that. And I don't regret not doing the edge, but perhaps I should have done the edge sooner than I did. So yeah, I don't know. That might have made it a bit faster for me, just so I could judge the, you know, distance from the different succulents a bit better. And again, I ended with the heart. I actually don't think the heart was as difficult as I thought it would be. So I think I kind of won a bit of time there compared to others. I made sure to, like, the middle here was really easy to spot, and I made sure to just spend a few seconds really looking at the image, getting it placed the right way up, so I didn't have it like floating there in the middle and had to turn it around several times for it to connect with anything. Oh, and that's also one thing where it's, you know, comparing my time at home with times at the competition. So especially here where I was a volunteer, I walked around, you know, could see what people did. So that might have influenced how I did the puzzle, seeing how other people did it. So, you know, as I could see that the heart here in the middle was the most difficult part. Most people ended with that. I also did that. Perhaps I would have tried doing the heart first if I didn't know that, you know, everyone else finished with it. It's hard to say. One thing that makes me think that I at the competition also would have ended with the heart is that the Thursday before the competition, I was part of an online speed puzzling competition from Puslestudiet, and we got this puzzle. Oh, if I don't drop it, we got this puzzle. And when I unwrapped this, the first thing I said was, I will be tempted to do the umbrella first, to pull out all of the pieces. I'm not going to do that. That would be a mistake. So I just recognized there right away that, you know, those pieces would really stand out. It would be tempting to do them first, but it's a big section of the puzzle, big difficult section. That would be a mistake. So I think having that fresh in my memory at the competition, if I did this puzzle, let me just get this one back in its place here. I think I would have thought of that puzzle when I saw this and also think this heart will stand out. It would be tempting to do it first, but I'm not going to. But yeah, again, it just goes to show you can't really compare the times, but I'm going to do it anyway. So with this one, and let me see if I can look at the right numbers this time. I did this. Remember, I did the one from round A in under an hour. I did this one in 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 16 seconds. So yeah, it's not very often anymore that I have a time like that. It's rare. I think it's rare I get over that 1 hour and 15 minutes. So it's definitely a difficult puzzle. And if I had been at the competition, if I had had that time at the competition with international players, I would have been number 54 out of 123. Without international players, I would have been 39 out of 102. So it would still have qualified me for the finals. But where with the other puzzles, there were 10 minutes from my time to the last one who qualified. With this one, it was only roughly 5 minutes from my time down to the last Dane who qualified. So yeah, it would definitely have been a bit more, you know, on the edge of qualifying with this one. But again, it's a difficult puzzle, this one, but it's not impossible. I mean, it's still a very doable puzzle. So yeah, I think those were some good choices for the individual competition. Now the final. We had been told a while before the competition that the puzzle for the final in the individual category would be an unreleased puzzle especially designed for the Danish Championship, which is so much fun. It's so great when they can do that, because I understand why we can't get all unreleased puzzles in a competition like this. But, you know, there will always be some who have the advantage of having done the puzzle beforehand. But you don't have that. You didn't have that in the individual final this year. And then, right when the competition was about to start, it was announced that Iris, who is one of the top speed puzzlers in Denmark, but is also an artist, she had withdrawn from the competition. She had been in, I think, was she in Group B? I can't remember. But she had withdrawn from the competition because it was her that had designed the puzzle used in the final. So obviously she couldn't participate. And that was just so amazing to hear. I will link her Instagram down below so you can go and see. She makes some amazing art. And also at that point, at the beginning of the day, it had also been revealed that a puzzle shop would, when the puzzle had been revealed, would sell some at their stall, at their booth. I think they said they had 50 for sale. So obviously I couldn't buy them there. I was a judge at the competition. But I had told my team members to please buy one for me. So they did that. Luckily they got one. I think puzzle shop. My team members told me that when there had been a big line, and when everyone who had wanted to buy a puzzle had bought a puzzle, they'd kind of like set out they had told, there are 3 puzzles left or something like that, 3 or 5 puzzles left. So yeah, I don't know if they ended up selling all of them, but it was definitely close. And also, Iris would also be signing puzzles. So again, my team members, they bought one for me on behalf of me. I did pay them for it. And they also got it signed. So that was really, really amazing. It's my first ever puzzle signed by the artist. Anyway, they opened up the puzzle, and it was this one. I love this so much. It's so beautiful. So amazing colors. And Iris did join the live stream for the final at some point where she did talk about her design process of this. So it's in Danish, but if you understand Danish, I really recommend you go watch that because it's so exciting to hear her talk about it. So this is her interpretation of what's that called? Not myth. I can't remember the English word. A story from Greenland about the mother of the sea that I can't remember the details completely here, but if the people don't respect nature, mistreats nature, she will catch all of the animals, all of the sea creatures in her long hair, and someone will have to go down there and comb her hair to appease her and get all of the animals back. But yeah, it was so much fun. And she also talked about how she did make some design choices that she wouldn't have made if it hadn't been for a puzzle. So she wanted it to be a really great speed puzzle. So she made sure there was a great gradient here in the sky, that all of these animals were different colors, easy to distinguish. And of course I have tried it now, and it was really great. So also you can just see with her hair here, there are like, it's part of the hair that are like blue fish in it, other part of the hair like there are pink fish in it. That these 2 here that spotted where there are like dots on them, they're different dots, so you can really distinguish them. It's also darker down here, lighter up here. Yeah, really fun, really easy puzzle. And I think it's so amazing that she got to put her art on a puzzle, and that it was used for the Danish Speed Puzzling Championship. And yeah, really, really lovely. I know that there are, I think both Puzzle Shop and the Danish store Hyggeonkel sells this puzzle now, and I think that it is available to Nordic retailers. So if you are in a Nordic country, check if you can buy it, or contact your retailer and ask them to get it in stock. And I don't know if there are any plans about international release. I really hope it will be released internationally at some point, so as many people as possible can get to try this puzzle, either to speed puzzle or just to relax. I've speed puzzled it now, but I'm also looking forward to just doing it slowly and really enjoying the art. But anyway, with the competition, so walking around, you could see that by far most people started with the sky. There were a few who didn't, but most people started with the sky and then did the woman here, and then, just different animals, ended up a lot with this iceberg here. So yeah, that was really interesting to see the way I did it. And again, here at least will probably be the one where, it's most difficult to compare my times because no one had seen this image before. Obviously, when I did it at home, I knew what to expect. I had also seen that most people started with the sky. So I had actually, planned to start with the sky. I thought since most people did that, that would probably be the thing that stood out to me most. Well, I kind of ended with the sky, almost ended with the sky. And it's a bit fun. I can also see here when I do online competitions with the commentary, it will say, oh, most people do this. It looks like all start with this. And I'm just like, I'm not doing what everyone else is doing right now. For some reason, I end up often just doing the opposite of what other people do. I don't know why. But yeah, I actually ended up, I started, again, I didn't do the edge, but I started with her and this octopus down here really stood out. Then these, then I think this crab down here. Oh, this one was also one of the first things I did. Then at some point, I took all of the really dark pieces because they're either this killer whale, that's what it's called in English, right? Killer whale, or there's just down here where the water is darkest. Yeah, her hair. Then at some point, I did do the sky here. And then, of course, I, like most people, I think, ended with the icebergs here. But yeah, I'm so happy I have this puzzle. So if we look at the results, let me just find them here. Again, the first person to finish was one from Sweden, Tyra, who did it in 33 minutes and 13 seconds. And we know this is a first try for her. Really impressive with that time as a first try on a puzzle. Then to find the official winner, the first Dane to finish, who finished third, was Sophie, who did it in 35 minutes and 50 seconds. Again, amazing time. Third place, official third place, went to Astrid, who did it in 38 minutes and 44 seconds. And third place was Jesper with 41 minutes and 15 seconds. Really impressive times. And also, everyone finished. Everyone in the final finished before the time. So they had, as I said, 1 hour and 30 minutes. And the last person to finish did it in 1 hour, 17 minutes and 2 seconds. So I think it just gives such a nice atmosphere when everyone finishes in a final. It was really great. So here at home, as much as you can compare, at home, I did it in 53 minutes and 29 seconds, which with international players would have placed me in 65th place out of 91 participants. Only looking at the individual, at the Danes, I would have been in 54th place out of 79, which I would have been really happy with. I'm kind of happy it wouldn't have qualified me for Nordic, because if I had learned that I would actually have qualified for Nordic if I had participated, I think I would have regretted not participating. But yeah, I would have never expected to qualify. I don't think I'll ever qualify in individual for the Nordic Championship. But anyway, yeah, amazing puzzle. And just talking about, let's evaluate the image selection this year. So much better than last year. So last year we had an awful teams puzzle. We had an awful puzzle for pairs round B, an awful puzzle for pairs final. This year, I think they were all really great. Again, there were difference in the difficulty between the puzzles, between the different rounds, but all in all of them were doable. Yeah, I think that if you participated for the first time ever in a speed puzzling competition this year, just for fun, let's see how it is. You would actually want to participate next year again. I think there were some people who tried it first time last year and thought, never again, it's horrible. But this time I think it was fun for most people. And also, if we just see to compare the images this year with last year. So last year in teams, 43 teams participated. Only 18 finished. That's a lot of teams not finishing. And this year, 67 teams participated. Only one team didn't finish, and it was a team that only had 3 people on it. Much, much better statistic. I mean, it's, definitely better this year. If we look at the pairs final, last year there were 50 pairs in the final and only 32 finished. This year, 90 pairs participated in the final. Everyone finished. I mean, that's just so much more fun. And it's not like, I don't mind there being difficult puzzles in a national championship. I mean, it's a national championship. It's okay that not all puzzles are super, super easy, but it is just more fun when it's not, an evil puzzle. I mean, just don't let it be an evil puzzle. It's, so much better this year. I'm so happy that Olivia, from a board member of the Danish Jigsaw Puzzle Federation, chose not to participate and instead had say in the images. Again, huge applause to her for that. That was so amazing. It did a lot for the competition. And it was such an amazing weekend. I have nothing bad to say about the organization of it. It was just perfect location. I really hope they stick with that. I mean, Denmark is not the biggest country, so I do think it's very limited how many places, how many options there actually are for venues that work, that are big enough, that, can have such good layout. The fact that there was a hotel at the place, oh my god, that was amazing. But it was just amazing. I have nothing bad to say. Really looking forward to next year. And just talking about my future in speed puzzling. So, as I said, I am going to go to the Nordic Championship. That is the last weekend of May, if I remember correctly. And I'm so happy that I don't have to wait a whole year until my next in-person competition. So I'm really looking forward to that. Now, with Nordic, my partner and one of my team members, Christina, is not going to be able to participate in Nordic. So I've had to find a new partner. We've had to find a new team member. So you can, at least if it's the same as last year, they haven't told us otherwise, you can change out like 50% of your team / pair if you've qualified. So, we've had to find a new partner, a new team member. And there was a bit of back and forth. Different people were asked. There are a lot of different people who have been searching for partners for Nordic. And there was one, Cecilia, who we saw, who said she had qualified in individual, but she didn't have a team or a pair for Nordic. So we asked her. She would love to be a team member, would love to be my pair's partner. I was really searching for someone who could be our team member and my pair's partner. I just think that's more fun that it's the same person you're with. But she wanted to be my partner. It's great. I haven't met her yet, but we're going to meet up and practice. And then I checked how she did at the competition this year in individual. And it turned out she was the 4th best Dane at the competition. So I suddenly felt a bit of pressure on myself to do really well at the Nordic. But it's going to be amazing to have such a great pairs partner. And I'm really looking forward to meeting her. But anyway, I have the Nordic to look forward to. There's also, I think that's in October, there's some people organizing a 10-hour puzzle marathon here in Denmark. So I'm also really hoping to participate in that. those marathons, you have to have a team of 6, or at least up to 6 people. So I hope we can, round up a team of 6 people. But yeah, I'm planning on participating in that also. So yeah, still have some in-person competitions this year. Really looking forward to it. And then of course there are the online speed puzzling competitions, Puzzle Race DK. I already have a huge stack of puzzles, of wrapped puzzles for competitions I'm registered for. I am not really participating in the Euro Jigsaw Jams anymore, just because we have the Danish competitions now. I can't afford to participate in all of them. So I'm kind of just focusing on the Danish ones now. But yeah, it's so much fun to participate in online competitions. I'll link Puslestudiet with the Danish competitions down in the description. So if you are in Denmark, I really recommend you participating in those. If you're not in Denmark, there are the Euro Jigsaw Jams. I'll also link them down below. I do have an affiliate link. So if you want to buy some competition puzzles from there, or just other puzzles from the store, you can use my link. It doesn't cost you anything extra. I just get a small commission. So yeah, definitely recommend people joining online competitions. I'm so looking forward to the ones I have in my future. But as I think I also mentioned last year, for me it's 2 very different hobbies actually. Normal relaxing puzzling and speed puzzling. And normal relaxing puzzling will always be my main hobby. Speed puzzling is kind of a side thing I do for fun, mostly because of the social aspect. So yeah, don't worry, my channel won't become a speed puzzling channel. I will most likely also do a recap of the Nordics. If I go to the puzzle marathon, I'll probably also do a recap of that. But otherwise, my channel will mostly be relaxing puzzling, normal relaxing puzzling reviews and hauls, and yeah, all of that. So yeah, if you're not a big speed puzzling fan, don't worry. It's never going to be the main part of my channel here. But yeah, if you have the possibility to go to an in-person competition, go. Either to participate, but also just to be there. It's so much fun. The atmosphere is always so much fun. Everyone is happy. Everyone is cheering on everyone. And yeah, last year, even when we got all those awful puzzles, the atmosphere was still great. So yeah, it's just so much fun. Highly, highly recommended. And I'm so looking forward to all of the competitions that are in my future. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing. See you next time.